Alright, so this video is going to be sharing something that is a idea that I really connected with over the last few months and has definitely evolved from the last time that I shared it in the community where I did this training. And when you can understand what I'm about to teach you over here, it is going to be a complete game changer, and people are going to actually see you as being crazy. Just the way that you are able to, overcome obstacles and go into your zone of discomfort constantly, and to do so with so much joy and excitement as well. It's like, it's a cheat code. That's what this is. So this is really giving you a key of courage right here. This is like the key that you're going to be able to receive by watching this video. And so the first thing that I want you to consider when watching this video is I'm gonna go through an analogy with you, and this is something that when you get to grips with, it's gonna make so much sense. So first and foremost, when it comes to fear, I think I might have said this in another video as well, in that we have two different ways that we can be motivated, right? So we can be motivated either by pleasure or we can be motivated by pain. And if you think about fear is definitely more of a painful emotion than it is a pleasurable one. We want to inherently avoid fear. That's something that is universal for every single human being, and that's why it protects us from different animals and predators, and has them as a mechanism that is something that has evolved within us and all animals. This is why fear is something that is important for us to have in our DNA. And so when it comes to having this fear, we can place it in a position where it is not necessarily going to be something that stops us and puts us into a place of freezing, but more so, it can act as something that puts us into a place of massive action through creating that adrenaline and making a person fight instead of flight away in those moments. So the fear is actually majorly helpful, because whilst you're in a position where you're not earning enough money to do the things that you want to do other than pay the bills, understand that really you're in a state of survival. So whilst you're in a state of survival, then that's when fear is going to be secreted chronically, often. And you can either be utilizing this to your advantage and become a weapon because you got nothing to lose as the major underdog, or you can be, sitting back in the fear and just being stuck in procrastination and freezing. It's the difference between someone like Rocky Balboa, who when he was that major underdog in pure survival, thinking about how he could, overcome and become the world #1 for boxing in the movie, versus somebody who is just sat at home and, is afraid to go out and do anything out of the house because they're just completely taken over by their fear. And you get to choose who you want to become out of the two different situations. You either become the hero or you become the damsel in distress and the victim, the rescuer or the rescued. So when it comes to the position of fear, one of the things that you have to really get to grips with is understanding how powerful this fear can be, because your fear, as something that is a motivator of pain, is always going to be more effective than the pleasure, which is a motivator towards going something that you desire. So if you know that this is more powerful, then you know that this can be actually utilized to your advantage. And the best analogy that I can give you right now, it's so beautiful to paint, is if you've ever watched the movie Avatar, then in that movie, the main character, he ends up, spending time with the blue people and going to Pandora, and he's there learning the ways of what they do to become warriors in their tribe. And the thing with those people is that the ones who get to a point of becoming courageous to a certain extent, then not only do they learn how to fight, but they also learn how to fly, because they utilize the dragons, who are these kind of scary creatures where they could even kill you if you don't necessarily connect with it in the right way. So the dragons represent chaos, and chaos over time in different mythological stories is always represented through the dragon, right? If you even think of something like Shrek, Shrek is the exact same analogy where to save his damsel in distress, the first thing that he has to do is he has to go into the castle and then he has to fight the dragon, but eventually he even comes out on the dragon, right? So it's like, this is one of the things where you can integrate with chaos and manage the chaos, order the chaos to the point where you now get to fly off of the back of the step that you took into facing your fear head on and then dancing with the fear. Because that's what it's about. It's about dancing with the fear and letting that fear push you out of balance, out of your comfort zone, to the point where you are now getting to, work with the fear in a way where you're working together. And that requires that you don't necessarily know what everything is gonna happen going forwards, and you're kind of surrendering to the unknown. You're being present in the moment as you are. Like even what I'm doing right now, as I'm speaking with you to this camera, I don't know what I'm gonna say next. I'm just surrendering to the present moment. And through doing that, that's allowing me to utilize something that is so much more powerful than planning everything that I'm doing going forwards. And it's the same thing that you can do in your life and in your business, where you interact with your fear and surrender to the fear, and then from there you can utilize it and fly. Like what happened in Avatar, where once he went up to the main dragon, which every other warrior was scared of, they called it Taruk Makto. When he went up to that main dragon, then he eventually danced with that dragon, got connected to it, and became the most powerful warrior in the entire land. But understand that he had to dance with the biggest fear. So if you have more fear than everyone else, then you also have more potential to become the greatest warrior, to become the greatest entrepreneur that you really want to become. If you don't have that fear, you don't have that same potential. So what you really want to be asking yourself is a question of, how can I magnify my fear? How can I make it even bigger and larger so that I am then able to become more of a powerful specimen? And I want to give you some real life examples here. One of a couple of my friends in business now, one of them, her name is Lisa Dodgson, and she was able to, within a period of 6 to 12 months, I believe, I think it was 6 months, she replaced the income from her job. 12 months, she made like 17K in a month for the first time ever. And the reason for why she did it, she's so open about it, is because she had such a strong why and fear around what would happen if she didn't actually go through succeeding. Her why was so strong in that it was something to do with her dogs, and her dog was killed, and she had this why of creating an animal sanctuary, which she's literally in the process of doing right now, living her dream life. And it was a fear that was even bigger than her. And the exact same thing happened with one of her team members, right? One of the people in her business and organization who over the last few months has also created a high level of success. And I remember sitting down with her as we were doing this exercise that I'm going to take you guys through in one of the next videos, that is like absolutely transformational once you do it. But we sat down in a park doing this exercise. Lisa was conducting the exercise, and I was sat there with this woman called Karen. And we did this exercise, and I did it with her. And as soon as we did it, I saw tears flow out of her eyes. Like she completely broke down, and she was a mess. And the thing about that moment was, I was so humbled and honored to be a part of that experience for her, because I knew that I was in the presence of greatness, because she wasn't going to let herself break down from that, and she was going to break through. And that's exactly what happened. And what she told me was that her biggest fear was, if she didn't necessarily get the results that she was going to get, then her child would suffer because of it. And that's what she deeply cared about. And I saw the love that she had for her child when she pictured what it would be like if she wasn't able to get the results that she wanted to get. So that's like a superpower that we have within us. If we can experience that fear and start to dance with the chaos to the point where now that becomes our biggest motivator, because we've positioned the fear behind us instead of in front of us. And we're running away from a reality, which is the depiction of a hell instead of the heaven that we're moving towards. If you remember the visualization exercise that we did and we demonstrated, then that's literally one of the ways that you can start to create some vivid detail about what that hell can be like, so you can start running away from it and start running towards your heavens, running towards your God life. So when it comes to these two people, Karen right now, I met her again in Portugal, and she's literally been over the last few months making not just four-figure months, but she's been making four-figure days. You know, she's making multiple five-figure months in her business, and the reason for why she's now at this point is because she faced the fear head on, and she used it as her fuel in going through any obstacle that was in front of her. And so this is giving you the commonalities of success, in that all of these people just had bigger fears and managed it well, so that it was behind them instead of in front of them, and they ran through any brick wall that came in their way. So that's giving you a little bit of an insight as to how you want to position your fear, so that it's actually going to help you instead of, you know, hindering your progress, and it's going to become your secret weapon. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in the next video about how that can really make a difference within your vehicle, whichever vehicle you choose, and what I would recommend in doing with your fear, so that you can use it as your key to unlocking your God life. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, and we'll take it from there.